Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Welcome to Facts and Two Cents. This is Petal. I apologize for having to push it back. 45 minutes? It was supposed to start at 1:30, but I kind of, how when you try to do way too many things in one day and then you're like, ah! So I thought I'd be able to get back in time for 1:30, and then it was not happening. So I apologize. For having to push it back, but I am happy to be here hanging out with you, talking Sussex, talking Royals, and whatever else we get to talk about today. Hope you are well. It is very gray and drizzly and rainy in New York and not cold at all. It's actually very warm. I did not I went outside with a turtleneck and I was like, oh my gosh, it is hot. Had to properly come back, take it off, get rid of scarf and everything, and then go back. So yeah, it's hot, muggy-ish, kind of rainy day in New York. So much for winter. Anyways, not that I'm complaining. Well, other than the rain, I'm not a fan of rain. I rather snow. But it is what it is. So anyway, but wherever you are, I hope it's nice and bright and sunshiny. So that is my wish for you. But hello to all my friends in the chat. How are you doing today? I see, let's see, who is in the chat with us today? Rafaela, Adrian, Anita, Lottie. Hello, guys. How are you? Gwen is here. I see myself in the chat telling you that it's pushback. Let's see. Black Queen, our awesome moderator, is here. Hello, Black Queen. How are you? Connie Bomber. Hello, hello. Who else is here? Lydia, awesome moderator, is here. Hello, Lydia. How are you? And Lydia is reminding everyone, if you're new here or if you're not, and you just have not, please subscribe to our channel. Click the notification bell so you know when we drop a video, and like and share the video, and join our 2 cents crew where you subscribe to the channel and become a channel member. Thank you so much for all of you who have, and I appreciate those who will be joining us as well. Sharon is here. Hello, Sharon. How are you? Oh, I don't think I've seen you here before. AADKD. Well, welcome. I haven't seen you here before, but I'm happy you're here. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to the squad. Gloria, Maya, Mrs. S. Hi, everybody. How are you? Vinny is here. Hello, Vinny. Let's see, scrolling down. Annie is here. And we'll say hello to Kay Costello. Thank you so much. 21 months as a member. Wow. Thank you for all your support this 21 months. I appreciate you so very much, and happy holidays to you and your family. Thank you, and I'm so happy you're a part of this community. Thank you. And Nolu Thandu is here, hanging out with us from South Africa. Hello, Miss Nolu Thandu. How are you? Joyce is here, and Maka is here. Hello, guys. So we'll say hello to all of our other friends as we go along. Yes, I see you, Cinderella and Kenita. I see you all there too. Hello. But what is going on in the world of affairs? Well, as this was supposed to be my yesterday's podcast, Story Syndicate, they dropped this yesterday. They were just reminding everyone, just over a year ago, Harry and Meghan premiered and was the biggest documentary launch in Netflix history. If you haven't seen it yet, find it on Netflix. And if you're a squatty and haven't seen this yet, shame on you. As the rest of us have seen it like about 150 million times, and we have no shame about this whatsoever. None of us are ashamed. And if you've read Spare, we've all read the Harry and Meghan section about 50 million times as well, and there is no shame. We are not ashamed. So if you're a squatty and have not seen this, shame. But shame in a loving, wonderful way. We still accept you. But anyways, yeah, over a year ago, that all of last December, we were all jonesing out about Harry and Meghan docuseries. What a wonderful docuseries. And I actually meant to, over the holiday, well, we're still in the holiday season, to watch it, but I really meant to do it at Christmas. But then I was just like, well, but I was doing all this other stuff, and I kept saying, I'll get to it. And then by the time, Christmas night, I was so tired, I fell right off to sleep. I never did get back to it. So I think this will be part of my New Year's Eve watching. So again, for like the 50 million and one time. So again, if you have not seen Harry and Meghan docuseries, it's on Netflix. It's there in all its glory. And I just, love those photos, the photos that we hadn't seen before. That's a part of the docu-series are just so beautiful, so wonderful. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, jump over there and see it. What else is happening? Spare is ruling the world as usual. I mean, again, if you've been on this channel or following me, this channel, or Baron or Duchess of Success or any one of those Sussex channels, you would be if this is news to you, again, shame. I'm handing out a lot of shame today. What is this? What is being this shame? But anyways, if you've been following us, we've been saying this for the entire year. I mean, Spare is everything. If books, when it comes to books, it's all been about Spare. And so again, if you're a squatty or if you've been following this channel, whatever, this is not shocking, but again, hello. What did people watch, read, or listen to in 2023? This is Germany Embassy in London tweeting this, by the way, if you haven't seen this before. And of course, we don't know what they're listening to, but we know, according to the German Embassy in London, what they've been reading: Reserve or Spare by Prince Harry. As with just about everywhere else. And so we are just excited, very excited about Spare. I mean, we called this from January, that it didn't matter what else came out. The only one I thought would challenge it, which, in the end, it did a little bit, is Britney Spears, but I didn't think it had the legs. And it's exactly what we were saying. Didn't quite have the legs of Spare. Again, there's so many elements to Spare that is just, plus, the royal gossip, and everybody is all up in the royal gossip. And Harry's little moments with little areas of his life. You're like, oh, I can't believe you put that in there. But okay, I accept it. But yeah, Spare has been it. And again, I don't know how much they're online, how much the Sussexes are paying attention to any of this online. I'm sure the publisher is obviously letting them know, but whether they're online or not, or their people. But I hope that they are celebrating. I hope Harry is just celebrating, and G.R. Moringer, who is the ghostwriter for the book, I hope that they just really revel in this. And again, it's not a book to, it's like, oh yes, you're really happy, but again, it's his life, and there's a lot of tragedy in there, but also too, it's just a lot of joy and love too. And so just that they're able to put this out there, and then it's been ruling the book world from January 10th until today. And I'm sure it'll be the same January 10th, 2024. But it's been an amazing ride to see Spare. And also, this is in Canada. Best-selling books in Canada for 2023. Spare! And Sarah Murdoch also writes for, I think like Star or something, like a magazine or something, news outlet in Canada as well. But obviously, Spare. And again, none of us are shocked about this. Spare rules the world, especially the book world. And in so many ways, the UK have not been able to recover in no matter what they do, no matter how much they try to claim that, oh, it's not, Harry and Meghan are not relevant, or Harry's book is not relevant, or he's a failure, or whatever. You can say and think whatever you want to, and you can have whatever opinion you want to have, but the numbers don't lie. You could claim they're a failure all you want, but the numbers do not lie. The numbers coming in from around the world that has been coming in all year did not lying. So you could believe the lie of the British press if you want to, but hey, the numbers are right there. We got the evidence. We got the receipts. So there you go. Spare rules. And that's just it. And obviously, we know why a lot of royal reporters and royal commentators and royal biographers hate Harry, because what are they going to do? How are they going to tell Harry's story again? Harry's just told his story. We don't need them. And so as Harry's book has been dominating the world, all they're doing is seeing money falling out of their pockets. And we know they want to be the ones to make money off of Harry's life. Harry dare not make any money off of his life. And so they just see the money just draining down the street, running away from them and running into Harry's pockets in Montecito. And they hate that. So there you go. But I just love to see it. I absolutely love to see it. Maybe one day, and maybe not now. If she ever thinks of doing it, I don't know that she will. The Harry and Meghan docuseries could have been it for Meghan. She doesn't seem to want to have to deal with any of these crazy people ever again. And kudos to her if she doesn't. I would not blame her. But if she ever writes her story, then they're gonna hate her too, because then again, that's more money running away from them. So yeah. Very, very, very interesting. So let's see what else is happening. Ottawa is like, well, we want to be, Ottawa's at least their library, and we've been following library Twitter all around the world, and library Twitter is letting us know Ottawa public library in the most popular book in 2023, Spare, as usual. As usual. I'm telling you, I have loved seeing it and see so many people come back to embrace reading because of Spare, come back to embrace, the libraries all. I mean, I've never seen librarians so excited about something in my entire life. I didn't even know library Twitter was a thing until Spare. And so it has just been an amazing, again, here we go, Spare. So Ottawa is like, yep, our most popular is Spare. So there you go. And away from that wonderful news, we're going to go over to Shutter Island for a second. And, as with all things around the world, this is the end of the year. So everybody has their top 5 moments, their countdown, their biggest moments. And, that, by the way, we're going to do, tomorrow, I want to do a call-in where we all could call in, I guess, come with your top 3. And, I would love for you guys to call in and share with us what your top 3 Sussex moments are for the year. And we'll see if I think a lot of us probably will have the same one, but that's okay. That's okay. We'll do our top 3. And so as many people call in, we'll give everyone 2 minutes and to call in tomorrow and share with us what your top 3 Sussex moments are for the year and why it's your top 3 moments. So please, please, please don't leave me hanging. Call in and hang and let us know what's your top 3 moments. But Ofcom, that very toothless, I mean, talk about toothless in every sense of the word, and the ISP, I mean, it's just like, anyways, they have their moments. It says 2023 has been full of milestone moments on TV, and now we can reveal the 10 most complained about shows of the year. Yeah, even have that. In 2023, we received over 67,000 complaints about 9,000 over 9,000 or 9.5 thousand issues, nearly double that of 2022. Do you remember these moments? Very infamous and obviously number one moment, number one thing complained about, and I can't believe only 8,867 people complained about it. It was Dan Wooten and their, very sexist comments about this reporter. And we all remember that was why Dan Wooten and Fake Priest. I wonder where Calvin is today. I haven't checked in on Calvin in a while. I forgot about Calvin. But Lawrence Fox, as you can see Dan Wooten and Lawrence Fox there, got in this very sexist comments about this reporter, and all 3 of them got kicked out of, well, sort of. And we know Lawrence Fox is out and Fake Priest is out, but Dan Wooten, I'm not sure. I know Byline Times, had said that he is definitely fired. He obviously, since that time, he was suspended, and we haven't. I heard exactly what's going to be happening with that. According to Byline Investigates, because for legal reasons they have to do a intense or very they have to investigate it, and then I guess there are a bunch of channels they need to go through before they can officially let him go. But I don't know that that's the, he hasn't been there, and they've suspended him obviously. And so according to their website, someone was saying that he was scrubbed from their website. But I looked at their website yesterday, and Dan Houghton is right there on the website. He is still there. They have not scrubbed him from their website for presenters. As you can see there, he's still there. So whether or not he is with GB News still or not, it still says that on his X profile, formerly Twitter profile. So don't know. I know he had, and I've been looking for it. I saw this video that he put out, and talk about using children to sort of deflect or distract from you. I think it's maybe one of his family members. He has a sister, so maybe it's his sister's child wishing people Merry Christmas and all of that stuff, and saying that he is going to be coming back to the UK, and I guess do some show, whether it's on GB News or not. But I've been looking for that video, and I thought I had bookmarked it, and I didn't, and I cannot. It seemed maybe he deleted it, and I cannot find that video anywhere, because it was just a few days ago it was there, and it's not there anymore. So he may have scrubbed it. And so it was just wishing everybody a Merry Christmas. I guess he was in New Zealand with his family, and saying that he will be back doing whatever. So he didn't say it was GB News, but who knows? But again, he is still listed on their website. So whether he is canned and they're still investigating, don't know. But as far as we can see here, he's not fired. So we shall see. But again, with GB News and Dan Houghton, there's so many people there that are in the same boat as Dan Houghton, and have done just about what, maybe some things he did that maybe others didn't. But if you're looking in the same sort of that same seedy cesspool that Dan Houghton is in, there are others there at GB News, including one of their top people. So again, to just put it on him, it's just like, well, what about the others? Are you gonna take, there's the Darren Grimes of the world, and the other, whatever I guess he's like the CEO again. He's also had sexual complaints against him and all of that stuff, and so they all are in like the same miserable cesspool together. So I'm like, we shall see. But again, that's GB News. They are the baby of the Tory party. And so including, Tory party have about 4 of their ministers, their MPs, who are regular hosts on this channel. So there you go. That's the UK for you. Anyway, what else is going on Shutter Island? This is kind of one of those weird things that I'm going to go through most of these before I get into the chat. So I'm going to jump in there. I'll jump in the chat at the end. But this is very interesting. And I'm like, I don't know. How do you have this conversation with someone? I don't know. It's kind of so morbid that it was just like, I don't know how I'd feel to have this conversation. But thank you, Josephine, who is, she doesn't label herself a squatty, but she does support the Sussexes and post about them a lot. So thank you for posting this, because I wouldn't have seen it. It is from the Daily Mail. And so she posted it. And this is apparently Sarah, Duchess of York, newly restored to the Sandringham festive walkabout after more than 30 years, was honored by the late Queen just before her death. And this was the honor. Her Majesty sanctioned a St. George's Chapel, Windsor funeral for Fergie, followed by internment at the royal family burial ground at Frogmore. For Sarah, this is a singular honor, as befits the mother of princess of the blood royals. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, thanks. I don't know how I'd feel about any of this. Not that, when you're dead, who cares? But I guess to them it's important that she's buried, and the Queen, honored her by, when she dies, she's going to be, have a service at the St. George's Chapel, where that's the same chapel where Harry and Meghan were married, and where the Queen had her service there and all. And that's where the Queen is. And Prince Philip and the rest of them are also interred in that church, which is a little creepy to me. I don't know that I ever want to go to that church. Like, ugh. But on the grounds of Frogmore, that the burial ground, which is actually very close to where Harry and Meghan lived, which was just like, even that's a little creepy to me. I'm like, how did y'all live that in that place, knowing that, I don't know, it's all creepy. But anyways, it's an honor, I guess. And so the Queen honored her with that she would be buried with the other royals there, with the extended family there. And so it's just very much like, and I never really understood it, the Queen, again, I'm not here for Queen Betty, but there are glimpses. I know Sarah loved her. Sarah absolutely loves the Queen. And the Queen, she's always tried to do things to, I guess, to include her in a way, including she left her beloved animals to Sarah. So it's because she knew Sarah would take care of them. And that had to mean something because, we know how the Queen are with her dogs. And so she want to make sure that her prized possession, that, things that she loves the most, would go to someone who she trusts and loves and will take care of them. So that had to mean something, And so it's just is very but it's just is one of those things where you're like, first of all, I don't even know why this woman was banned, kind of so-called banned from the family in the first place. I mean, when you have a son who is an alleged pedophile, who are you to be like, oh, well, this person sucked someone's toe, or somebody had sucked her toe, or some stupidness like that, and therefore she is banned, or she can't be part of the family, or she's disgraced the family? When you have a family with the history of the royal family, you don't have a pedestal to stand on to try to claim that somebody is not worthy to be part of your family in the first place. When you have a son like King Charles, who was like taking money from all over the place and have all these shady dealings, and you have a son who is an alleged pedophile. You have an uncle, Windsor guy, who is was also a pedophile. I mean, what ground do you have to stand on to be like judging Sarah? I never understood that nonsense. I never understood, like, she's bringing shame on the family. Like, are you serious? This family you're talking about? So I just don't even understand that nonsense. And it's not like I don't think that the toe sucking thing, I don't even think she was with Andrew at the time. I think they had separated or something like that. So I never understood that nonsense about banning her, and Prince Philip didn't approve of her. I was like, dude, you kind of look at your own history. Look at your own history and the alleged cheatings that you're doing. You know what I mean? It's like, who are you to be banning someone like, oh, she brought down the family? I mean, I never understood that nonsense. So anyways, Sarah seemed to be welcomed back to the family. She was at their walkabout on Christmas Day, which I never understood why people leave their warm house to go stand in the cold to watch a bunch of royals walk to church and back. I never understood it, but it's a tradition in the UK, so I'm gonna leave people and their traditions alone. And so, including, I saw this Black lady and her friend. Apparently, they are very much royals from Washington, and they were there, and it was just like, please go home and stop embarrassing us. It's just like, ugh. It reminded me of that lady who basically fell on her face to try to kiss Charles's feet, it looked like. And it was just like, can y'all stop embarrassing Americans? Please stop embarrassing Black folks. Stop. So anyways, moving on. What else? So I think I got to apologize to some squaddies, because my last episode, I was talking about this. And I was thinking when I was talking about this front page from the Globe about apparently Prince William and secret booze vendors, and you have this issue with booze, and I was just like, oh, come on. I was just thinking that they're just trying to prod and poke to try, they're trying to find some string to pull on, and I kind of just didn't believe it. And for me, it was just like, you see so much lies written about the Sussexes that I just that there is no truth to it at all. So I tend to apply that when I see tabloids put this sort of stuff out that is just there for attention or for clicks or whatever. And so that was kind of my take on it. I just try to sort of waved it off. But in the comments, the regular comments of that video, I got actually quite a few people were reminding me that actually William does have an issue, and whether he has an issue with alcohol now, I don't know. But one of our squaddies reminded me, even Harry talked about it in Spain. I had actually forgotten about that, where Harry talked about William turning up to, I think, his wedding. He was hungover. He was, very much hungover. And then I was reminded of Robert Jobson's book, where he talks about William and just his partying and just drinking a lot. He even talked about William really ruining when Harry, I think it was when Harry graduated from what I guess the military academy or whatever, that William and his friends kind of almost ruined it with just drinking and overdoing it and really out there just making really making just a mess of themselves, just overdoing it with the alcohol. And of course they hit it, and but Robert Jobson talked about it in his book Prince William at 40. I remember reading that, and I was like, oh wait, so I had forgotten all about that. And so more I was thinking of was this, and the reason why I had the thinking that that maybe the Globe just saw this and just sort of blew it out of proportion for something that isn't quite the truth. And this is why the Daily Mail, I think it was like a week or so ago. I'm just gonna move my banner there so I can look at the date. Yeah, so the Daily Mail on December 21st, they published this article, and part of the article it says, as Mike Tindall reveals Prince William's dub One Pint Willie and other affectionate nicknames the royally used behind closed doors. And a little part of the article it says, Mike Tindall has chickily revealed he calls Prince William's One Pint Willie because he is not the best of drinkers, and it's not the only affectionate nickname circulating for royals, whatever. And so for me, when I saw that, and I thought, oh, maybe that's what the Globe saw, and then just tried to blow it out of proportion to make something out of nothing. But as squaddies have reminded me, and as I was just like, oh, right, William does have an issue with alcohol. At least it did. I don't know if this is all the things that they're saying here in this cover, like he slams vodka shots and beer every night and shows up at events badly hung over and tells worried Kate it's not a problem. Now, I have no idea if those things are the truth. And of course, they have to, basically bury it and give him an excuse for him being, according to here, being a drunk. Is, of course, it's because of Harry and Meghan, And so for me, I was thinking, oh yeah, because they heard Mike Tindall say that about William, so they're trying to make it what it is. But then this is kind of curious thing, I kind of left it alone, and then this kind of curious article, and it's not like it's a denial, but it's kind of trying to give William a cover for all of a sudden people are talking about his alcoholic, and people remember Spare also talks about William coming over and attacking Harry and all of that stuff. And it's just like, is all of this stuff have something to do with alcohol? But here is Telegraph trying to give William cover. It says how Mike Tindall became a brother to how Mike Tindall became the brother Prince William needs. And of course, because, squaddies, we've been talking about how Nacho is the brother Prince Harry deserves. Of course, they're trying to do this. They've been trying to make this William Mike Tindall thing happen for quite a while. And so, I mean, they do really look like they have a good relationship, and the kids seem to have a good relationship with each other. And it's fine. Hey, power to them. But this is just a very curious article. It says the 45-year-old husband of Prince William's cousin Zara threw an affectionate arm around Prince William's son George when the royals greeted well-wishers at Sandringham on Christmas Day. Abandoning formality, Tindall once again resembled the jolly uncle at a family do, who can be relied on to liven up proceedings. In the absence of Prince William's actual brother, the California-dwelling Duke of Sussex, a former England rugby star, has to some extent come to fill the void, to allow the heir of the throne to truly relax and be someone he can confide in. The article goes on to say, there's two little clips from the article. It says, royal biographer Ingrid Seward, editor-in-chief of Majesty magazine, suggests Tindall's appeal to Prince William lies in his embodiment of the kind of fun the heir to the throne can no longer indulge in. Mike Tindall has that kind of sportsman camaraderie that would especially appeal to William, who was once a wild boy himself. Mike gets funnier under the influence of alcohol and can be totally outrageous. William cannot do this anymore as he is too aware of his responsibilities, but he can live vicariously through Mike. And while this isn't coming out and outright saying no, the article is a lie, it's in a way one throwing Mike under the bus, like, oh no, Mike is the drunk. Notice how it says that, Mike gets funnier the more drunk he becomes, and he becomes totally outrageous. And William, no, William can't do this anymore because of his new position. No, he can't partake anymore. But he can live vicariously through Mike as Mike becomes more and more trashed. And it was just like, wait a minute. Yeah, it's not out and out coming out and claiming that, no, William doesn't do this. But it's letting people know, no. Mike is the drunk. William isn't. William is only living, he's the besties with Mike, but he's only living vicariously through Mike. And notice the thing with Mike, because obviously they can't use Harry as a spare anymore. So now William has his spare and Harry. Imagine that being your life, that your life is, you're the joke in the family and you're the family clown, and you're there to just enliven the party when it's there, and you're just there so that way William could have someone that he could come and talk to and just relax around. That's his life. And then he's the drunk, so that way when William does something and we need to cover William up, we can say, oh, no, it's Mike. Mike is the one who is drunk. Mike is the one who is doing the benders. Mike is the one who, yeah. And it just is one of those things where it's just like, this is a very interesting article. Like, again, they're not coming out right and saying that, no, this is a lie, but they're trying to cover it. They're trying to cover it that, no, William, he can only do one drink, but it's Mike. It's really Mike. And William is, yes, you see him hanging around someone who gets trashed and gets more outrageous as it's trashed, but it's only because, he's living vicariously through that person, because that's who he used to be, not anymore. And like, right. So when I saw that, now it makes me, even before I was, sort of brushing that article away, now I'm like, there's more to this than they're saying. That article has an element of truth, that the Telegraph is sort of on the slide trying to sort of, cover William, that, he's not, but we'll see. We will see. I mean, these things are, hey, when the Sussexes were there, they would not have approached this subject. But I guess as the Sussex stories become less and less and less, they're gonna have to face and deal with this stuff eventually. William has a lot of stuff that he has not dealt with, including his anger and the alcohol issue, because again, even though I've forgotten about it, it's like Harry talked about it in his book. Robert Jobson talked about it. So there's the anger issue and the drinking issue. So again, I don't know if it's, if it's as bad as the Globes mentioned that it is, but if it is, they have a real problem. Because again, you mix alcohol and that anger issues, who child? Who child? So anyways, moving on from Mike Tindall, loose lip Mike Tindall. You guys remember this, right? We remember from it was June. Actually, I think let's see. It was June. Let me look at the highlight. Yeah, June 15th. This article came out from Deadline, and I've been talking about Deadline for a while now, because Deadline has been really on the forefront of attacking the Sussexes and coming up with these very curious articles. For example, right when they started voting for for the Emmys is when Deadline and others started coming out with these the Spotify articles about the Sussex, that the Spotify is not renewing the Sussexes, and then all these expose, including the Wall Street Journal and all these exposés about the Sussex and especially Meghan and her Spotify podcast, and all of these negative articles. And part of that was from Deadline. And I remember talking about how this is not just articles from Deadline, these are targeted attacks, and they were put there to make this show and make voters so have such a negative attitude against the show that they would not vote for it. And it was very successful because they didn't. It was a very successful campaign. And I know some people, when I said it, they're like, oh, no, it's not. I'm like, I've seen this, the way how they target people before. And this is no different. And so one of these things, and again, one of the writers that was doing this, he's also, and you wouldn't be shocked to know he was also British. You wouldn't be shocked to know that at all. But anyway, so back in June, one of those articles that came out was this one. BBC boss says she would never have greenlit Harry and Meghan as a public broadcaster. We cannot relinquish editorial control. And this is some of the article. Exclusive, Harry and Meghan would never have found a home at BBC. The woman tasked with overseeing the corporation documentary programming has said. According to Claire Sillery, that's her over there, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex approach to Netflix smash series would be unacceptable for a public broadcaster that cannot relinquish editorial control. Speaking on the eve of Sheffield Doc Fest, Sillery said the doc commissioning is a question of trust and what the audience expects from us. While she acknowledged that the inline world people have complete control of their own narratives. And her thing with this is that because, again, with BBC, no, they could never relinquish control to, for example, their subjects, that they have their final say on what comes out and how it's published. And basically the whole narrative was about, the fact that, and also some other British outlets were saying that, Harry and Meghan docuseries, and also like the Oprah Winfrey interview, they did not have anyone pushing back on Harry and Meghan narrative. They didn't have an opposing opinion. And so her thing, or part of this is, no, they, her, and that whole narrative, and around that time was that, you couldn't trust Harry and Meghan narrative because it was their truth as opposed to the truth. And her thing is like, no, that would never have found a home at BBC. We would never relinquish control. We would basically, we would have a show that has integrity, because Harry and Meghan show didn't have integrity. Why? It doesn't have pushback. There's no opposing opinion other than their opinion. And that was the whole narrative that was being pushed out there all around this time when they were attacking the Harry and Meghan docuseries for it not to get, nominated. And so, which was so ridiculous. So we talked about this at the time, how ridiculous it was, because last year we all remember what happened with the Queen, with the Queen's funeral, when the royal family had all this editorial control. And we did actually a couple of episodes about all the things that the royal family had them BBC take out of the broadcast. And so we cover that extensively, all the things. And so we were talking about just this being a lie. For her to say like they would never relinquish editorial control. Well, there is documented proof, including one of the reporters talking and just sharing his alarm at the fact that BBC would allow the royal family to have so much control, where they literally were on, I guess, this WhatsApp group dictating to the BBC what to keep and what to take out. For example, in that docuseries, you will never see, I think it was George wiping his face. You'll never see the Beatrice and Eugenie leaving. You'll never see the Duke of Edinburgh, Sophie and Edward. They were very emotional, and you will never see that on there, because why? The royal family had them out. I remember this French outlet going through and putting all the clips that the royal family deleted. They had all the clips, and we talked about that here. And so for this for Class Sillery to be claiming that, oh, they will never relinquish editorial control was a lie. It was a lie then. And so fast forward now, BBC has this new documentary with King Charles, his coronation. And so I heard about it, a few weeks ago, and I didn't even realize it dropped because nobody was saying anything about it. So imagine my shock yesterday when I was like, wait, it dropped? How come nobody is talking about this? And only to find out, and it's called Charles III, the Coronation Year. And only to find out this is what, and according to, and I love the National, this is what to expect in the docuseries. It says, the National, it says, the new BBC documentary about King Charles has been labeled an attempt by BBC to shamelessly promote the royals. And also at the bottom, it says, well, actually, let me move my little, brand there there we go, so I can read that properly. And so part of the National article, it says, Charles III Coronation Year aired on BBC One on Boxing Day. Didn't even realize that. And looks back at the preparation for his crown. But it avoids tackling the news stories that have rocked the royals over the last year, including controversies around Prince Harry, Prince Andrew, accusation of racism, or protesters arrested during the coronation. A BBC story about the documentary describes it as a warm and sympathetic account of the new reign, which lacks glimpses of any difficult headlines of the year. Another one of the articles, it says, it's no surprise that this vapid film simply ignored the procession to the Abbey, as it would have been impossible to ignore the protesters. And so these people who would, on June claiming that, oh, the Sussex's documentary is not legit, basically what they're saying, you can't trust, it's not legit because there's no dissenting opinion. There's nothing, no one there giving you another narrative so you can, you can trust the docu-series. But here it is, one of supposedly their biggest with the king, with not even one dissenting opinion. Not only that, they literally cut out the parade to the church and back because why? The Republic group has all their big yellow signs there. And so nothing. The only thing, apparently, all of this was going on during the coronation, to and from, the church and back to I guess, Buckingham Palace in their gold carriage. All of this stuff that was happening, none of this apparently made the docuseries. Nothing, none of it. Even the leader for the Republic group was arrested. He, as you can see at the bottom there, police were confiscated. They had all of these signs, as you can see in this truck. Police confiscated all of their signs and stuck it in this van, arrested a bunch of them, as you can see. As you can see in this crowd, you had all of these abolish the monarchy, not my king, all of that stuff. None of this is in the documentary. And so for these people to be claiming that Harry and Meghan's, it would have never made the BBC and all of this stuff, there's apparently not one dissenting voice in this thing. And it's just like, talk about hypocritical. So here's a little bit about when you think about, in terms of, say, the BBC and their relationship with the royals, we remember, what was it, 2-3 years ago, with the BBC having to apologize for Martin Bashir and the Princess Diana interview. And, they basically blackballed Martin Bashir. And then they decided that never again will that documentary, that interview be aired. And so it's stuck in they put it in a vault, never to be seen again, because of what Prince William and we know Charles wanted. And William ended up calling his mother paranoid and all of this stuff. And so you have all of this stuff where the BBC was in their doghouse and they're calling out the BBC. We all remember that at that press conference by William, to where that's where they were with the BBC, and all of a sudden, this is where we are with the BBC and the royal family. The same royal family who, again, bashed them for what they claim they did to Princess Diana. This is some from the Republic Group and Graham Smith. And I've had my things with Graham Smith before in the Republic Group, but they're not wrong on this. So it says, to add to some context to this appalling piece of propaganda, which is the docuseries, the documentary, the King Charles documentary, to add to context to this appalling piece of propaganda, here is an extract from Omid Scobie's Endgame, in which he talks about the relationship between the BBC and the royals. And this is a little bit of what Omid said in his book Endgame about the relationship between the royal family, or the monarchy, and the BBC. It says, and King Charles has now shifted some of his media efforts to strengthening bonds with the BBC. Yes, that very BBC. As expedient reversal from his previous position. Shortly after taking the throne, the king held at least 2 clandestine meetings with BBC executives. These discussions were part of the monarch's effort to ensure that the network properly covers his work as king in spite of all the drama surrounding the institution. The message, His Majesty will not be overshadowed any longer. And it proved a successful run of schmoozing. In the build-up to the May 2023 coronation, the BBC ran palace-requested items across their platform about his charitable efforts. It's become apparent to a number of journalists and the producers that the palace now has the BBC firmly under its control. A senior figure at the network shared on the condition of anonymity. To many, the BBC has become an extension of the press office of the palace. And that is very, very clear. The same people who were claiming that, again, that, oh no, editorial control, we will never give up editorial control, is exactly what they're saying. They are an extension of the palace PR. Prince Harry said it in the Harry and Meghan docuseries. That's what they are. And that is what they are. They are now firmly under the control. Graham Smith continued, says, BBC has shamelessly admitted that their Charles film will be a warm and sympathetic account of the new reign, with no glimpse of any difficult headlines from the year, whether it's Prince Harry, Prince Andrew, or the palace rows, or protesters arrested at the coronation. So its sole purpose is to promote the monarchy. That's it. To produce a documentary about the head of state without any critical voices, without any context, discussion of scandals or challenges, it's an appalling betrayal of BBC impartiality and lets down every viewer. I'll be asking for answers about how this film came to be made, written by a staunch monarchist and produced outside the BBC's own guidelines of impartiality. Again, this was the impartiality. This was the standard that this woman was claiming that the BBC have, and then here it is. Nothing. There's no dissenting voice at all in this. This is just basically all this film is a PR for the king. And so you think about what BBC is supposed to be and what they're doing. I mean, it just, I don't know how anybody could trust anything coming out of the British press. I mean, BBC is supposed to be this reputable news outlet, and here they are, nothing more than palace PR. And yet, back in June, they were claiming, oh, Harry and you can't really trust Harry and Meghan's docuseries because there are no dissenting voices. And yet here they are producing exactly the same. I mean, it's the same hypocrisy. We've been talking about this forever, but you look at, again, Charles's relationship with the press there, it's like the Times gave it 4 stars. The same thing. I mean, these are some of the same people that were attacking Harry and Meghan's docuseries. That it's their truth and there's no dissenting voice. 4 stars for a documentary that is basically palace PR. The Telegraph even went a little bit further in there. They actually gave it 3 stars. And at the actually I'm going to look at the actually I'll read the telegraphs a little bit. 3 stars. It says on one level, a fly on the wall stuff was fascinating. Again, remember how they were attacking the Sussexes when they were like, the Sussexes were doing a fly on the wall documentary. Remember all the abuse they threw at the Sussexes? Remember all the abuse they'd like, oh, if the Harry and Meghan come to the coronation, or if they came to the Jubilee or any of those things, they're going to have Netflix cameras. They're going to have, hidden cameras. So, and all of this stuff. Meanwhile, they're claiming all of this stuff about the Sussexes, and Charles and the rest of the royal family, in the middle of that, they are literally doing a fly on the wall documentary. And look at, they put it there and there is no attack. There is no attack on the fact that the royal family were doing exactly the thing they were attacking the Sussexes for. How strange, it goes on to say, how strange it is to live like this. There is an old cliche that the royals believe the world smells like fresh paint, but it's also the case that everybody that meets them is thrilled to be in their presence. Obsequious aides make sure they are comfortable at all times. A royal photographer spends 2 days working on the lighting and the exact toe position for an official portrait to ensure the royals need only pose for a matter of seconds. Everyone hovers around them nervously, laughing at their jokes. Apparently, this was all in the docuseries. It says the king and queen, to their credit, try to put everyone at ease. It says the documentary is an extension of this. Every scene is PR approved and stuffed with people telling us that the royal couple are marvelous. Think of it as a glossy corporate film. And basically, that's what the BBC produced. Now, you think of this and you think in terms of, Harry and Meghan docuseries, the docuseries they were attacking, and you think of the content of it where they dealt with, history and racism and all of this stuff. And then you compare it to this, the very thing that, all the things that they were attacking the Sussexes for, they're literally doing it here, and none of these people are attacking them. And again, the hypocrisy of the British press. And it's very funny because the Express, I guess for probably the first time in their life, tried to be honest about something. And they tried to, it's like BBC backlash as viewers blast King Charles' coronation propaganda. I dare you to try to find that article now. I don't know how long that article was up, but you won't find it now. I guess somebody at the palace had a word with the Daily Express. Again, they are obsessed with the Sussexes. And for, I guess, the one time in their life, they probably tried to tell the truth. That article went away. And, it's so funny. Dr. Shola, I love Dr. Shola. Marina Perkins, I think she's one of those presenters. She says, we're almost at 2024. And she used like a little bit of a cuss thing, so I took it off. Says, when are we going to end all this nonsense? Dr. Shola says, uninspiring, insipid, I will paraphrase, nonsense. And Ashbash, who is a Swarty, I like what she said. She said, the same people complaining the Sussexes documentary about their lives should have included people pushing back against their words will lap up this ridiculous propaganda up. And it's exactly what she said. The same people who were attacking the Sussexes claiming that, they had no pushback. So you can't really trust anything. It's only their truth. None of these people has said anything about this docuseries or this documentary that has no pushback, and everybody's there just telling you how wonderful these people are. And again, as a squad, we know this, but it's when you see it again blatantly in front of you, it's just like, wow. And again, you want to believe the BBC, you want to trust them, that it's fair, it's unbiased. But then you see stuff, and again, this is not someone else produced it and they're just airing it. They literally produced this. This is their work, And so my thing is, how can you trust anything coming out of the BBC? You can't. You can't trust anything out of it. Again, propaganda. Um, so anyways, that's it for that. That's all I got really. So I'm gonna actually stay in the chat and see what you guys what you guys are saying, and then we will wrap it up. But yeah. Again, our faves are wherever they are, being quiet, and I hope they stay quiet there until they're ready to show whatever it is they want to show us. But again, yeah, it's really sickening to let outlets that because I used to trust the BBC, I used to trust what they have, but now it's like you see what they're doing, and you're like, this is just blatant palace propaganda. This is nonsense. I even saw an interview with from the BBC a couple of days ago, and this lady was interviewing this person from Palestine, and he kept saying this is what's happening underground, and this BBC reporter kept saying but the Israeli government, and he's looking at her like, excuse me, that's not true, this is what is happening. He said, but the Israeli, and it's just like, oh my gosh, it's the same thing. It's like there's so much there. It's like they cannot get away from the narrative of, they have these stock people that they believe the narrative from. And even when the truth is right there in front of them, it's like, no, but the palace said this. And and it's just like, but it's a lie. So when I see stuff like that, I can't trust. I can never trust whenever I see something on the BBC. Black Queen said, oh, wait, Black Queen, where are you? Black Queen says, nothing surprises me about the propaganda gotta press BBC on Shutter Island. I know. I mean, when I first started realizing just a lot of this stuff is just like, oh my gosh, this is not credible at all. It was heartbreaking because, again, when you spend your life believing people, and it's really hard to then turn around and realize like, wow, a lot of the stuff they said wasn't true, or it wasn't exactly what the actual thing was. They're shading it, or it's slanted in a way to benefit one group over another. And the more and more like you see it, the more your eyes open. It's really alarming. Let's see. Fatimata says, I now blame the UK public for putting up with this nonsense. The corruption, manipulation, and propaganda are out there. So out there, you don't need a deep study. The public can easily see it if they want to. And, I will say the same for for Americans. I think a lot of people want to believe, they want to believe the royal family are all good. They want to believe, say, America is, the land of the free, the home of the brave. We're the good guys. We want to believe the same thing about the UK. We want to believe that the press is always telling us the truth because, these people are journalists. And it takes something like what's happening now in the Middle East to slap you or throw cold water over you to realize, like, no, it's a propaganda. It's a lie. It is a lie, and it's very heartbreaking to realize a lot of what you believe has been a lie. I know. I'm going through a lot of it right now. It is really, really like, wow. And the Western world, especially the UK, in the US, we're so trained to believe the lies, to believe the propaganda. It's like more and more you realize how much the government has used the press to spread their lies. And there you are thinking the press is independent, only to realize, like, no, they're not. No, they're not independent at all. A lot of what we're hearing is government propaganda because reporters, and especially now, especially since after the Trump, oh God, Lord help us never to go back there, the Trump era, reporters are a whole lot less likely to be going there and actually doing investigative journalism. Now it's all for the clicks. Let's just try to get some cheap clicks. Let's see. Black Queen says, Helen, it's unbelievable. A bunch of grifting, mediocre, cold-blooded, racist on royals. There you go. The adjectives there. Black Queen acting like they are above anyone, all while their subjects are cold and starving, homeless, and in the streets. Sad. Very, very, very true. And again, it's like, in terms of even this documentary, it's like the fact that they left out the entire journey to the church and back with all the people out there protesting. What are they protesting? Not our king. Why? Because you're using up all the money that poor people need to be feeding. You're the one, you're sucking up taxpayer funds that should go to families, that should go towards, people having higher wages so that they don't have to depend on food banks, that they don't have to be dependent handout to take care of themselves and their families. That's why they're out there protesting. And so for someone like the BBC, a news outlet, to completely erase that from anything to do with the coronation, it's so disgusting. It is so disgusting that your first priority should be that of your viewers. That should your audience. That should be your first priority. That their voices are heard. Because what they basically did was cut out the voice of the people. Not only that, you cut out the support. There are a lot of people there supporting Charles as well. But people who are out there protesting, people are not going out there protesting because they have nothing better to do with their day. They're protesting because something is very wrong. And a news outlet that is out there serving the person that is the problem, hello. You've basically taken away the voice of the people. So then what benefit, what is the use of the BBC? What is the use? And that's why it's just palace PR. They're nothing other than that. Angela says the BBC had the editor of that paper on days after Jeremy Clarkson article, and she was never questioned about Jeremy Clarkson's vile article. Not one question. I remember that. And she got a lot of flack, and the BBC got a lot of flack for that. I remember that. Yeah, they did. I think, what was it? It wasn't a question time. It was one of those other things. Yeah, I think it was like a Sunday or something like that. She was on there. And not one question about Jeremy Clarkson's article. Not one. And then I'm telling you, the BBC it's a useless news outlet. And if I'm not mistaken, I know there was a lot of changes at the top, the people that run the BBC, but a lot of them, if I'm not mistaken, are Tories. And so I don't understand how you can have a bunch of Tories running in a news outlet that's supposed to be impartial. And I'm like, that's a problem. It's like, it's the most ridiculous. It's as ridiculous as Paul Daca running, the Ofcom, or IVSO. It's just like, it's, again, that's the UK for you. Let's see. Charlie says that the latest Crown series tells it all. King Charles tried that with the US cable network during Harry's book promotion. The crossover wasn't happening. Yes, I remember that. I remember Michael, whatever his name is, from that morning show when Prince Harry, Michael Strahan, did the interview with Prince Harry promoting Spare. The royal family wanted, I guess, to see they wanted to see the interview and something else they wanted before it aired, and I think it was Channel 7, the ABC. They're like, no, we don't do stuff like that. We do not share that information with anybody, because obviously when you do an interview, they will contact the person you're talking about to get a reply from them. And they did, the palace wanted to get they wanted ABC to send them a copy of it and all of that stuff. A lot of time they do that is because they want editorial control. And then Anderson Cooper said the same thing. Obviously they contacted them for, with the right of reply, and they said the same thing. And Anderson Cooper, they both, and it's so funny that Anderson Cooper at the end of the interview, and also Michael Strahan, talked about that in the interview. That's how we found out that the royal family wanted to, get some editorial control in there. So they were like, no, we don't do stuff like that. Let's see. I'm scrolling up. Terry says, Charles is a weak and fragile king. He cannot handle criticism. Yeah, that's very, very true. He can't. Admittedly, he's gotten a lot of criticism in the past for things he has done. In a lot of ways he's gotten. But yeah, he's very, very thin-skinned, and his whole thing is about being loved by the press. And I don't know when it's gonna dawn on him that they're never gonna love you. They're just not. As you can see, I mean, they have gone right past him to William. He is never going, and it doesn't matter how much the press shows Charles that they're not here for him. He has not. He has just. He will continue to sell his soul out to get, a love and attention from them. You would think at this age you'd be like, you know what, forget it. I am not going to. I don't care what you say. I don't care. You know what I mean? But it seemed like he is just willing to do whatever it takes to get the press to love him, and he will sell out and throw whomever under the bus to get them to love him. And it's like, dude, this is not happening for you. It is just not happening for you at all. Connie says, I think the majority of folks on Narnia Island are afraid to protest for fear of being attacked. Where is democracy? It's nowhere, really. It is nowhere. I asked the same thing in the US as well. It's nowhere. It's definitely not the democracy they are trying to sell. Let's see. It's, but the good thing about, even with the protests, it's more and more actually. At first, when they started especially the Not My King protest with the yellow signs, they didn't have a lot of people. Now they have a lot more people. That movement is really growing. Even though sometimes I think it's, controlled opposition, they behave that way sometimes. I even called them out on that. But their movement is growing. More and more people are just not, they're not into the royals. And no matter how much the press try to make it seem otherwise, it's not. The majority of people they're just apathetic. They're just not into them. Let's see. But it's interesting again, they like to lie and like, oh no, the royal family they're not doing, they're not meeting with the press. There's no control. And Oldman talked about it plainly, talks about Charles meeting with BBC officials to make sure that he's not overlooked. And hello. And they basically bowed to him. So there you go. Let's see. Some more. Go back to Cho says Casey already got the BBC inside their payroll as long as his reign. They can lie all they want to lie. It is they can lie all they want to. Lie is one of their it's their recipe to survive. Yeah, it just totally. I mean, lying is seems to be, the constant like, oh no, we're not doing, and it's just like, come on, really? Come on. Fatimata says you've been wonderful on Twitter with the aggression and horror happening on Gaza Pedal. Oh, thank you, Fatu. If you just so you know, my Twitter feed, I have decided, and I decided this a while ago, a couple of months ago, when the genocide against the Palestinian people started, to dedicate the majority of my Twitter account to covering that, and also now going to be covering Sudan and Congo as well. And so I don't do any royal, very, very little royal stuff on Twitter anymore. So if you need to find me for royal stuff, I'm going to be posting more in Spoutable for royal stuff, but Twitter, I'm dedicated more for advocating for the Palestinian people, and then for Congo and Sudan and all the stuff there. And so just so you know, and I had to apologize yesterday because I realized that I should have said that to squatties who are probably like, why am I seeing stuff about Palestine all over my feed from Facts and Two Cents? So yes, Facts and Two Cents on Twitter, or X is now X, is 99% Palestine, not going to be also Sudan and Congo. So yeah, I'm using that for just advocacy work. So thank you, Fatu. I think it's, I love the royal, not the royals. I love the Sussexes, and we do have a lot of squaddies on X and stuff like that. But I just think like what is going on right now is just you can't help. You can't be silent, and then later down the road be like, there's always that question, if what would you have done back in during World War II? What would you have done during the Holocaust back then? And the answer really is whatever you're doing now is exactly what, if you were alive back then, is exactly what you'd have been doing then. If you're not advocating for peace, if you're not advocating for justice, if you're not advocating for a ceasefire and all this stuff, it's exactly what you would have done back then, And I hope that with all that's happening, that all of us really honestly take a look back and at what happened during the Holocaust back there, because finding out a lot of the things that we have learned and that were, again, with the result of propaganda is not what they claim. And when you realize that you've been lied to and lied to and lied to, and you see the lie coming out of these people over and over again, you start questioning every single thing that you have been told. And again, I don't question that the Holocaust happened, but there are things that even from some of their own people, elderly people are saying, oh, wait, no, that's not true. Those photographs are faked. They're, I have questions. I'm like, okay, I need evidence that I have not seen the 6 million. I'm like, okay, how many people actually were killed? How many people? I mean, we know there were Jews and there were black and gays and all. I mean, there's like a whole bunch of people that Hitler hated. But a lot of the things are not exactly what we were taught. And so it's been very eye-opening and shocking to to realize that, oh my gosh, I have been believing a lot of lies that were not the truth because I just believe the propaganda. So I understand why people believe propaganda, because you want to believe that people are not just going to lie to you. And for me, I grew up in a very trusting situation. If I didn't have a reason to think people were lying, I trusted, until someone give me reason to not trust them, I will trust. And that's just my nature. And then now it's like, oh my goodness, I got to go back. So yeah, it's been very alarming. So it's been very, very, very alarming, but it's actually good because now you can go back and try to figure out the truth. And then you can relate it to what's happening here, whether it's the royals or with what's going on in Palestine, because a lot of it relates. I mean, the bottom line to all of this mess, whether it's the royals and their mess, whether it's with the propaganda, whether it's, what's going on with Israel and Palestine, the root cause of all of that stuff is white supremacy. It's from the racism or slavery and all of that stuff. The root cause of all of this stuff is white supremacy. And so no matter what angle, you always come back to the same thing: white supremacy. And so it's just, yeah. Moving on from that, let's see a couple more before we end. Let's see. Black Queen said, she's talking to Yalibi, says, I know Congo, especially the young kids, is unfortunately Black lives don't matter to the powers to be worldwide. Yeah, I mean, hello, whether it's there or, we see, look, we saw what the world, everyone was screaming and everyone was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe when Ukraine, let's help Ukraine, let's do whatever. Let's, in the UK, literally they have families taking in Ukrainians. Now, you look on the screen, you see people in Congo or in Palestine with all, Black and brown people, and you see them just literally taking out babies. And the world leaders have said not a thing. They've not said not a thing. In fact, some of them are rooting it on. They call it mowing the lawn, where they take out babies, and that's okay somehow. And it's just, it's like, this is where we are. And I think this is the thing that I have been, especially for Americans, like in this country, especially when we talk about propaganda, we so want to believe that, okay, no, it's happening over there. It's not going to happen here. It's happening over there. But I think we have to understand the same people that are okay with it happening over there, the same people that are funding it, that stuff over there, The same people that are fully supporting it and backing it and not calling for ceasefire are the same ones that are leading this country. If they don't care about black lives and black and brown lives there, I don't care what they say in this country. They don't care about your lives. Yeah, it's not happening here yet because they need black and brown people to stay in power. But make no mistake about it. If they get away with it there, trust me, it's coming here. So if we don't start standing up for it, and getting rid of it so it doesn't go on there, trust me, it's coming here. So we have to wake up. Our lives don't matter. I mean, it's thrown in our face in so many ways, and I think we need to wake up and get out of the stupor of, oh no, it's not gonna happen here. We are the land of the free and the home of the brave. Democracy. It's like, no, that's hanging by the thread. And so, yeah, it's very scary. It is very, very, very scary. Let's see. A couple more before we end. I keep saying that, but I just don't want to go. I want to stay on here. Karen says, I guess Charles' Coronation is going to win a BAFTA. Of course it is. It's one of the goals, too, in addition to brainwashing people. It took Princess Diana off and overpower her story and truth with Charles' lies. It's just incredible that they've banned Princess Diana's her interview, and now they have one with all King Charles and all of his we love you, he's wonderful, he's whatever, and that's okay somehow. Unbelievable. And nobody is saying, oh, but that's their truth. It's only Harry and Meghan's truth or Princess Diana's truth. But this nonsense with King Charles it's okay. It's funny. I had someone in our regular comments says, Petal, when you're talking about these horrific things, can you not giggle? And I am sorry. And I have to say, this is my grandmother always says, when things are so horrible, the only way you can cope sometimes is by laughter, because you either scream or just if you hear me and I'm talking about this and you hear me giggle, it's not because I'm laughing. It's just, for me, it's a coping mechanism. It's a way I can cope, because it's the way I can keep sane. So it's not because I'm giggling, ha 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 ha. So I just wanted to address that. Because I realized I just giggled and I was like, no, it's not. It's the way I cope, because sometimes when the things that I've seen in the last 3 months, I will never, they're imprinted in my brain. And the only way that I can sleep or have some kind of peace is some kind of humor or to laugh or some way. And it's the only way I can cope. So please understand. So yeah. So let's see. Love Wins Movement. Hello, Love Wins Movement. I haven't seen you here before. Happy you're here. Says Black Coach talking to Black Queen. It's just so tragic when I see what is happening to people of color in the UK and the US. Yeah, and it's around the world. Around the world. And again, we have to take care of each other. We can't, we are literally all we have. And I think we have to really take the time to make sure that we're advocating for each other, no matter what the situation, even if it's in your community, in your family, whatever, that we're advocating for our community and for our people. We cannot expect other people to advocate for us, because a lot of times, again, the root of all of this stuff is white supremacy. And so if we don't advocate for each other, what's going to happen, right? It's like, we're all we got. And thank you to some really awesome allies, but we can't rely on, allies coming. We have to be the one to advocate for us and for our people. We have to be the one to fight for each other. So that's what I say on that. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Black Queen, for understanding. Thank you. Let's see. Thank you guys for understanding. Thank you. Let's see. Anyways, actually, I think that's it, guys. I think I'm gonna run off and grab some food. But thank you so much for hanging out with me. Again, I apologize for having to push it back, and but I'm happy that I was able to just come and hang with you for a little bit, talking about royal nonsense, and also, looking forward to the new year, whatever our faves are gonna be doing. And yeah, I'm very, very excited. Megan again talked a little bit about it during the variety award show thing that she went to. So I'm very much looking forward to whatever it is that they come up with. And so, but we're gonna look back. We're going to look back a little bit tomorrow. So again, just to remind you, tomorrow we're going to look at, top 3 moments, Sussex moments that you that you feel like it's your top 3, really, I should say. I can't speak anymore. And so we'll chat about that. So be prepared to call in. Don't leave me hanging, please. I'm gonna have my top 3. So yeah, we can call in and we can chat about the top 3 moments, your top 3 moments for our faves. So anyway, guys, I love you all. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you to our awesome moderators, Lydia. Wait, Church Nelly, I didn't say you. Where are you? Karen M, Cookies and Cream, Black Queen. You are all amazing. Thank you all so very much, and thank you to our wonderful 2 Cents crew. I'm gonna move my banner a little bit here so you can see everyone. I'm gonna add some more to that. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel. Thank you for all of you who support in the chat as well, whether it's super stickers, super thanks, just donations, whether PayPal, Cash App as well. Thank you all so much for just your amazing, amazing support. I appreciate it. Have a fantastic day, my friends. Hi, I will chat with you, and I look forward to hearing from you tomorrow. Bye.